class, so now we're going to do some hand-drawn animation using Photoshop. So the first thing first, you need to open up a new file. Go to File, New, and then we're going to select HDTV 1080p 29.97. And then that'll give us 1920 by 1080 and resolution 72 pixels per inch. RGB, color white. Color profile, don't worry about it. And we want square pixels. And let's give this the title of Leaf Falling. And then I actually want to just go and save this. Save as. Let's go up. Let's go to recent places. Folder for Leaf Falling 1 PSD. Save. And so the first thing we want to do is make sure we've got our motion set up. So that's good, we've got that here. And then we want to create a First thing we want to do is make sure that the motion tab is set up. So that looks good, we're in motion. And then we want to create a new blank video file. And so first thing, create video timeline. And we want to do create video timeline. And first thing, we want to set our panel options and set timeline frame rate. Change that to 12 frames per second. And we are going to go to Layer, Video Layers, and New Blank Video Layer. And so this is going to be different than a regular layer. As you can see here, a regular layer doesn't have this little icon of a video file next to it, a little film strip. So let's title this one Leaf. And this one we can just delete because we don't need it. And so, actually, I want that back for right now. What happens is with this, if you go to your pen and then say you've got, I'm just going to go with black. If you have the setting on that allows you to enable timeline shortcut keys, and you start at the beginning, if you draw one thing, and then you press the right arrow key. Oh, I'm on that layer. Ha. So let's erase that. Go up here. So now we're on, I had this one selected, gotta select this one. If you go back to brush, you can hit B as a shortcut or click on this guy. And if you draw on the first thing and then press the right arrow key, you're on to the next frame of the video animation. So say I just do another one, do another one, do another one, do one more. And then if I go back by pressing the left arrow key, you can go through and have them move. So if I wanted to see the animation come through, one thing I would want to do is be able to enable the onion skins. So I could see the previous and the next frame. So I'm going to enable the onion skin to see the next frame. And that allows me to see a slightly grayed out version of the frame that came before. So this is the last frame, and it comes back in. You can see that one. And you can change the settings for that using the onion skin settings. And you can do the frames before and frames after. And you can change the opacity of these. So I'm going to drop this down just a little bit to 25 because I think it's too much. And so this is really the basics of getting hand-drawn animation. If you press play, let's turn off our onion skins and then just press play for that. So at the beginning, press play here or spacebar, and you've got the beginning of an animation. Just a scribble, but hey, that's pretty cool. You cannot do this with regular layers. Regular layers, if you press next on it, it would, well, since I have the shortcut keys enabled, if you drew on this layer, like this, it's just going to stay there the whole time. And so that can work to your advantage, using that to create backgrounds or helping to guide you on where the path of your animation is going to go. So let's get rid of both these. Let's just start a new one. Video layers, new blank video layer. I'm just going to delete this one. I'm going to retitle this. Now I want to, so let's see, I'm going to do a 36-second animation. So when I scroll this through, it comes up with a little box where you can see where it is inside the animation. So this says the end is 36 and the duration is 36. So that's where I want to go for right now. Actually, let's do 24. So that would be 2 seconds of animation. And I want a background. So I'm going to make a layer. And I want to fill in this background. So layer, new fill layer, solid color. Just say, oh, okay. And I'm going to choose the color white. Just have this go right below it. And I want to create keyframes. So I'm going to have 3 to start out. Call this keyframe 1, keyframe 2. Oops. I'm going to shrink down the size of these. Put them all on the same video layer. So when I do that, they all fall into this one video group, which is helpful. And we're going to change these as we go along, so don't worry about it too much. I can see keyframe. Let's get these in. Keyframe 1, keyframe 2, and keyframe 3. Great. So I know that I want, let's do one more. Just drag this out, and this is going to be the background. And this should be drag this down, drag this one down, so that way they're all the same length. And I want to create a background here. So I'm going to draw just a simple tree. Nothing too decorative. Just you can get into this later. But for right now, this will do. Okay. So I want my leaf to start right about here. I'm just going to go back. It's a little distracting. Okay. And I'm just going to change the opacity of this layer so it's a little bit more in the distance. It feels slightly behind everything. Keyframe 1 is going to start out with the leaf. Just right here. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Bring this down. And zoom in. Keyframe 2. And I need to enable my onion skins. Make sure I'm selected on the layer. To be right there. Keyframe 3. Selected. I want it to be about right here. So this is going to be a pretty slow, pretty simple movement going. So it means that I'm going to need 12 drawings between here and here, and 12 drawings between here and here. And so if I was to press play, you'd see those move in the same timeline that I wanted. So say I actually think that I need more time on that first one to get to that space. So I'm going to shorten this. Bring this one this way. Move this down. Move that way. And elongate this one. Because I think that'll add a little bit more drama. And say I thought that this one was too far away. Well, let's just go with this for right now. So what I would do first is start out on this layer. And you might want to do your keyframes in a different color, just so that way you can see exactly how they are. So why don't I do that just with the video layer? I'm just going to change this to like a darker green. Alright, so that way I know exactly where I am. So I'm going to be on the first frame here. And then I'm going to go to the 12th frame. I'm just going to copy this over. And then I would want to go halfway between the two. And if I put that in the middle, then I can, let's see. Oh, you know what? I deleted that keyframe. This is important. If you change your timeline on this, it's going to delete that keyframe. So now I go through. Oh, it doesn't. Weird. But it's not showing me the onion skin. Maybe because okay, so that's why. So what I want to do here is, since I've drawn, there's one there and one there on this layer, I'm going to go back in and do onion skin settings and show 6 frames before and 6 frames afterwards. And that way I can see on this layer where exactly those are. So if I was to draw, I'm drawing on the wrong layer. So this is important. Don't want to do that. Using the eraser, I want to be on this layer. And then if I go halfway between those, the number 3, if you zoom in a little bit closer, you can see number 3. Then I'm going to draw one in between these two. If I go to, and then I can go even smaller. So I know that one starts there. Draw that. Go to number 2. Go there. Number 3 is already there. So if I did number 4, there. You can zoom in to get closer so it doesn't feel like number 6 is there. So then if I do number 9, that'd be halfway between this one and this one. If I go, let's see, I need to zoom out just a little bit. So I got my 6 here, 9 is there. So I'm going to go back to 8, or I'm going to go to 7. I go to 8. And I want to get just in between these two. Alright. And 9 is there. And then 10 and 11 to there, to 12. So that zooms in a little bit more. Right. So there we go with that. And if we were to play this in the beginning, let's turn off onion skins for a minute. Just go here, enable onion skins. And let's turn off this video, that layer. If we were to go back to the beginning and play it, you can see that it's beginning to feel like an animation. One thing that's important, and I'm going kind of quickly here, is you want to keep those leaves the same size throughout as a constant. And one thing to also just point out is right here you don't see any like pixels, the little square blocks around it. When you play it, you'll see those pixels come out. When you actually turn this into a video, it's not going to have those pixels. It's just a playback method so it can run smoothly within Photoshop. It's going down kind of slow. Now, if we were, let's zoom out a little bit more, turn this layer back on so we can see what we're doing. And so that's going down. That's there. And so we're just going to repeat the same process between this keyframe and the next keyframe. So there's that. We need to turn our onion skins back on. There we go. So this is a 12 and 15, and maybe I want this one to be pretty quick. So I'm gonna. No, I don't need to draw them as close together because the motion is just going to be more quick. Ooh, and I'm doing this in the wrong layer again. So this is where you kind of got to get. You have to remember where you are. One way to protect against that is if you click on your video group and then lock it, you're not going to be able to draw on it. Just a little tip. So I'm going to go here. And then I'm going to go back between these two. And so 14 is done. So I'm going to go between, I don't think we did one for 17 here, so let's draw that in there. And now we can see that that is there. It's easier when you're zoomed in. Right. Now we've got those. Go. We've got those all in there. Pretty cool. This one, I'm going to change the shape of it a little bit, just to keep consistent. Slightly more consistent. This group, oh, it's locked. To unlock it, do that. I'm going to change the opacity on these so they're not as overbearing. But I'm going to relock those. And then the next thing we need to do is, now that we're at 17 and on your video layer, we just want it to go off the screen here. And so I think we can just do like a straight ahead type of animation where we don't need those keyframes, like a last one, to show off the page here, because that's where we're going to go. And just draw one in front of the next. So we have one at 17. Do one at 18. Do one at 19. Say I wanted to add, I just needed a little bit more room. Just going to extend it out a little bit. You can also add more sections in by doing insert blank frame. Just gotta keep going a little bit. I wanted to leave a little bit of room at the end where there's nothing on screen. So just maybe just like that. So then if I zoom out, and then I get rid of this, extend the layer, that out, up, down, I want the other layer, this layer. Cool. And then I'm going to turn off onion skins. That's off. Let's play this through, see what it looks like. We've got a little leaf fallen. You know, there's a lot more we can do in terms of background, touching up the tree, but I think this is a good start for getting you guys working on doing different keyframes and animation. You see how, like, the more time you spend drawing the images close together, it's going to move slower. The more space you have in between, so this last little bit that it kind of goes whipped around, that is going to move quicker. So just, and that's how it goes. So we do stop. And we can export this as a GIF for right now. And just to save some, well, let's save this. Let's also just keep this as tree, so we know what we're doing. To do that, File, Save for Web. This is a huge GIF, so we're going to reduce the size by a lot. We can also save this as a video, which I'll also show. So let's do not 10%, let's do 20%. You can reduce the colors just because you're using like 3 colors. And this is just resampling it. If we go through forever on this, and we can test it out, see what it looks like. It's pretty good. Get a little tree going there. Now we want to do save. HTML and images. Let's go up. One more. Ooh. Recent places. Leaf falling. Let's save it in here. Leaf falling 1. HTML and images. You do save. And there you've got it. It is, so if I was to do a large one here, and then open up my documents, recent places, leaf falling, it'll be inside the images folder. I drop it in. There you go. I've got it in there. The other option is to save it as a video. And this is what we're going to do more when we're working with longer animations. And that's why we do 1920 by 1080. So that way, if you go, and we want to choose first you choose where you're going to put it. So I'm going to choose leaf falling B, select folder. It's in the leaf falling one. You can create a new subfolder if you like. You want QuickTime as your format, animation, high quality, and your document size the same as what you've got. Document frame rate at 12. You can also just double set it that it's also a 12 here. Field order progressive is fine. Document 1.0, which is also square, so that's fine too. And then you can choose your start frame and end frames, but we don't need to worry about that. And then you do render. And if you go to your file, your folder, let's find that. That's the GIF. Maybe some places. Leaf falling. Leaf falling 1B is the one I just did. If you hit play, got a nice animation. Doesn't loop it because it's a video file, but I think that works pretty well. That's it. Hand-drawn animation in Photoshop.